Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Face on lover, the sun, turn to cover, tore me apart. I was a shoulder to cry. Come on, baby. This is the only place in my house with connection. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Let's keep it moving. Face on lover at the fine side. Okay, 23 people, 28 people, 40 people. That's pretty good. Hey, Queens. This is insane, isn't it? Like, it's genuinely, objectively insane. We got 112 people on here. Thank you so much. If 112 people send likes and share, we can get a good live going. So thank you so much. Thank you. Blessed Yuletide. Is it even Yule? It's not currently Yule, is it? It was Yule 2 days ago, right? 270 people, 340 people. Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for the 340 people. 400 people. That is insane. Thank you so much to the 400 people sending likes. Okay, if you disagree with me, send a 500 people. Oh my gosh, this is insane. So if you spam, I'm gonna mute you. 700 people. If 700 people send likes, we can get this out to so many people. Okay, so we're gonna. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the almost 900 people on here. Keep on sending likes, share, send a guest request if you disagree. Guest requests are on. So if you disagree, if you support the IDF, come up and tell me why. Come up and tell me why you support the IDF. Because I don't. This is an insane amount of viewership. Thank you so much. If 900 people send likes, we can get it going. Thank you so much. If you support the IDF, send a guest request. If out of the 900 people on here, any of them support the IDF, come up here. If you support their horrendous actions taking, come up here and disagree with me. Hello.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm pro-Palestinian. I just came on here to say thank you to you because, like, we just appreciate you speaking out.
Hey, I appreciate that so much. I appreciate that so much. I
Is
am gonna say,
yeah,
I'm trying to move just because it's
yeah,
the
yeah,
right
yeah,
beginning
hundred
of the
percent, hundred
live, so the
percent. Do
viewership's
crack
going.
on, bro. I
But
just
I
thought I'd say
appreciate
thank
that
you.
so much. It
No,
means a
no,
lot.
hundred
Thank you
percent.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Keep on sending likes, everyone. Shit, send a guest request if you disagree with me. Um, not against your views, but it's Christmas Day, fella. You spend it with your family. Well, I'm spending it doing what I love. I'm spending it doing what I care about. And also, they're not getting a good Christmas, right? They're getting a horrendous Christmas. They're not getting a Merry Christmas. And they are, the people in place we should be celebrating the most. The IDF is the Israeli Defense Force, properly called the Israeli Occupying Force. Send a guest request if you disagree with me. An insane amount of viewership. Thank you so much to everyone showing up. Thank you to people who sent gifts. That does boost the live quite a lot. And if you want to share it with people, that would be great. If you support the IDF, come up and send a guest request. I cared about this. It just there wasn't much action you could do, right? It was in a Cold War state. We're discovering the truthful meaning of the word human on the bones. Yeah. Once again, if you are the Israeli Defense Force, yeah. So if you're a Zionist, if you support Israel, if you support Israeli actions, send a guest request. I know none of them are showing up. None of them are showing up. Incredible how that works. Bethlehem isn't in the West Bank. Bethlehem isn't in the West Bank. I don't know if y'all can read that, but it's incredibly clear Bethlehem is in the West Bank. Give me 2 seconds. Bethlehem, a Palestinian town south of Jerusalem in the West Bank. If you look on it really simply, I don't know if that can be shown. Oh my goodness. Look at that. That's the West Bank, and there's Bethlehem. Crazy how that works, everyone. Keep on sending likes. Let's get anyone who has the balls to talk, or the ovaries. How do you respond to people that say that majority of Palestinians are Muslims, so they don't support them? Well, that's just, I mean, they're just being racist or really like xenophobic is what they're being, right? It's just horrendous. I don't think many people say verbatim that. What they say is, oh, they don't support human rights, right? Suggesting that Muslims don't support human rights. Or, oh, they're barbaric. Once again, characterizing Muslims and Arabs as barbaric. And then you call them out on that, and very few of them are willing to accept what they're actually saying, so they're back down and say that. Yeah. Keep on sending likes, gorgeouses. This is going. This is a really good live moving. I'd love to get a disagreeer up here. Share it with someone that disagrees, or share it with people that agree, so we can get more people on here who disagree. The IDF is the Israeli Defense Force. Once again, send a guest request down here. I'd love to speak to you if you disagree with me. Oh, especially if you're a Christian. If you're a Christian and support Israelis' despicable actions, come send me a guest request. Let's talk. How much clout do you need to feel popular to get a life? Oh, my. They took funding and spending. It is the Israeli occupation force. I'm using the Israeli Defense Force so people know what I'm referring to. They really are too scared. Come on, homies. I mean, their real name is the IDF. You get to name yourself. They are lying in suggesting that it's defensive. It's propaganda, but it's their actual name. Why specifically not say Muslims? So I'm just saying Christians would be really interesting to speak to, considering this. How in the world, right, do you continue to support a country and a terroristic organization such as the IDF that does this to a incredibly um who who how's college call? I'm not currently I'm on a break right now, but it's going well. I'd love to speak to a Christian who supports this. You're insane if you support the bombing and destruction of the birthplace of Jesus Christ. Wait, hair product? Oh my God, thank you so much for Pisha. Um, not all Palestinians and all Jews. Yep, I agree. Should be against what's going on. Yeah, they absolutely should. It's insane that Christians are supporting. Christ was a Jew. He is. He was. He was. He was a different kind of Jew. But he was a Jew. Yeah. I have a feeling most people here are pro-Palestine. They are. They are, which is great. It just doesn't make for that interesting of content, does it? So if you're a Zionist, if you're one of the Zionists shit talking in the comments, send a guest request and talk to me. Here's what I don't know. I don't actually know why they bombed Bethlehem. Who in their right mind bombs Bethlehem on Christmas when a huge amount of supporters for Israel are Christian? Different kind of Jew, so different temple. So there's pre the falling of the second temple and post the falling of the second temple, right? And then there are it's cultural. So like the Ashkenazi, Sephardic, and Mizrahi Jews didn't really exist at that time. So when we talk about what actual beliefs Jesus would have held as a Jew, right, under the teachings of, oh gosh, I forget the name of, I believe under the Pharisees. Um, there's the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and then another one, and he lived under the Pharisees, different type of Judaism. But anyway, yeah, no, it's just a bad propaganda move, right, on Israel's part, because a huge amount of supporters for Israel in the Western world are evangelical Christians, right? And when you do this, which is one of the most offensive conceivable things you can do, like genuinely, what time and place is worse? What time and place is worse? It's insane. It does have to do with religion, right? It does have to do with religion because they make it having to do with religion. I agree that Zionism does not equal Judaism. Everyone knows that, right? But when they're talking about religion, they can be both wrong about religion and wrong about religion mattering. Yeah, but it's weird, right? Because they clearly should care. Yeah, it is yeah, I think that's what they're doing. They're checking how far they can go with the Western Christians, or they don't actually care, right? Here's my theory, is that they're currently run, oh gosh,
Israel all day, Israel all day, Israel all day. Jesus Christ is Lord. God bless every single person alive. Israel all day. This is Lord. God bless y'all.
some high level content created there by Q-Top. Once again, thank you so much, Q-Top, for showing how adept Christians,
Fucking
Christian
goof.
apologists are at debating. Hello.
Hey, that guy does realize Jesus was a brown homeless Palestinian man, right? Like,
He does not. He doesn't have enough brain cells or memory to understand that. He also believes that children should be able to marry and have intercourse, you know, underaged. So
fucked.
not the most reliable source.
That's fucked. Yeah. I mean, to be fair though, that does sound about right for Israel, right? Like they straight up made it so that that any Jewish person who's escaping, CP charges can go to Israel and not be extradited. Like it's one of the, like the fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
Should we write that? I mean, do you, Arzak, do you also condemn the Warsaw Uprising? Like, when we really look at it, the H group is just a militant resistance force, right? They were born in the world's largest concentration camp. Like,
Understood.
I just
Hey, well,
want
I appreciate you coming up. I am looking for people who disagree.
yeah, I was
So I'm
just
gonna
about to say I'm gonna hop off. I
thanks so
just want
much.
to call that guy a goof.
He is a goof. It's also really funny that Q-Top runs away from a discussion with me and then calls me a coward. That is very funny. Let's see if this person disagrees. I don't think they will. I don't think they will, but let's see. Hello.
Hello, Will.
Hi, what'd you send a guest request to disagree about?
No, actually, I just want to ask you something because I do respect your intelligence. You're a very intelligent
Hey,
human
thank
being.
you.
You know so much. I'm much older than you, but I absolutely respect you for your intellectual honesty.
I appreciate
Do
that.
all what you know, I know it didn't fall from the sky. You do actually put work into it. You do read quite a bit and you do read deep. Why do you think a human being can tolerate such violence, do such violence on a human being in the thousands, and all the graphic pictures we see from Gaza? How can another human being do that to another human being? What kind of a person does it take to? Is there a term for that in your literature? In your general knowledge of us human beings?
I'm not like a philosopher king by any means. All I like the only framework I can put it in is hurt people. Um, and the racism and bigotry that come out of Zionists come from genuine harm and oppression in the past that has been turned around and weaponized for gain. So there are economic and political gains that can be made by hurting the people, and there are genuine hurt and harm and healing that has to be done that isn't being done. So one response to harm is more harm, and one response to harm is healing and growth. And then there's a pretty even split amongst people who choose one or the other. So that's how I see the Israeli conflict. It's a mix of there's political motive and economic motive to uplift the people that want to harm people and hurt people. So
I
that's the
mean, you
general
didn't.
view.
You didn't disappoint me at all. That, yeah, absolutely, you didn't disappoint. I've been following you for a while. I just sit here and I learned so much from you, even though
Hey, well, I
I'm two
appreciate
guys
that
your
so
age.
much. Thank you.
And there are a bunch of guys like me that we're learning so much from you. Thank you for your good work, your honesty, and everything else. Thank you. We are rooting for you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Well, that's lovely. You're a delightful person. Okay. Once again, I doubt this person will disagree with me. But if you disagree with me, send a guest request. If you don't, you don't. But, hello.
Hello.
I'm sorry, just in 1 second. The person spamming that I'm gonna mute because you're spamming. Um,
What's
can
your name?
everyone who knows me respond to him and tell him why him telling me to get a girlfriend is maybe a little dumb. Maybe just a little dumb. Anyway, hello.
What? Oh. Sorry. Were you talking to me about the girlfriend or?
No, that was another commenter. What'd you send a guest request to
Oh,
disagree
sorry.
about?
Oh, I do actually disagree.
Oh, great. Why?
Because I don't support terrorism. I saw terrorism
So
my
you
whole
support the
life.
IDF?
Yeah, I support the IDF. I was born in East Germany and saw the horrors of basically a failed state. And I saw
So you
conflict in
wanted to cause
Afghanistan.
more violence and more destruction in the Palestinian almost failed state?
Again,
Make it
the
fail harder?
idea of the Palestinian state is, my belief, wrong. We need to stop putting Israeli on Palestinian. We need to stop doing all this shit. We need to let Israel
So
be in
you think
charge
the
of the
concept of
country.
Israeli state is also wrong?
No, I think it's right,
But they come from the exact same justification. The partition plan that Israel accepted and to this day claims as its independence document recognizes the Palestinian state in it. So how can you recognize one without the other?
the problem with that is the Palestinian state is not a real thing. The idea
But the
came
Israeli
around.
founding document recognizes it as
Again,
such.
we're not talking, I'm putting a different history on it. The whole
A fake one.
Palestinian name is not even Arab, it's Roman. There was never a independent there was never a independent Palestinian state until 1948.
There was never an independent Israeli state of its current size.
Yeah, there was
No
always a
state
Jewish
ever
kingdom.
had those borders and was called Israel. Actually, Israel
Again,
doesn't even
6-Day
claim.
War.
Sorry, 1 second.
Let me just
Israel
remind
doesn't
you.
even. Sorry, I'm gonna. Israel does not even claim its origin from the kingdom of Israel. Israel claims its origin from the kingdom of Judea. So if we're gonna get caught up on names and times, right, this argument doesn't even make sense. Israel doesn't even claim its origin from the original kingdom of Israel. It claims its origin from the kingdom of Judea, just like the Palestinians claim their origin from the many, many tributary states, right, that were part of the Ottoman Empire, the Greek Empire, and the Roman Empire.
Okay, are you done?
I clearly am when I stop speaking.
Oh, I'm making sure I'm not interrupting false beliefs. Okay, the whole idea of the Palestinian state is just flawed. We need to put Israel in charge of the whole country, then slowly put back a Palestinian government. Not one government that believes that we need to kill Jews because of they're Jewish. Before you bring up all this bullshit about, oh, they don't do this document, let me remind you, just today, they destroyed a Jewish cemetery because they were Jewish. You got so many Jews who are getting harassed because of this conflict, because you got a group who is spreading hate like Al-Qaeda, like ISIS, like Boko Haram. They're going after innocent people because of a religion. This is not a religion war. Yeah, I support the IDF because the IDF is actually stopping this. How many times do we need to go over this again and again?
Who's in charge of the West
No,
Bank?
let me finish before I let you talk. I let you talk, so let me finish my. The IDF is had enough. The whole Israeli state. We let them go. We let Hamas keep attacking Israel. Israel lets them do it each time. Now, when Israel had enough, it said, fuck this, we're going to go in there, take out Hamas, and most likely put a better government in. The problem with a lot of news is you're putting the IDF as this horrible organization. Palestine and Hamas already broke the Geneva Convention. If you're using a hospital as a command center, that hospital is not protected by the Geneva Convention anymore, or human courts. At the end,
Okay, I love this monologue, but I am going to have a discussion with you two ways. So do you know who runs the West Bank?
do you know who runs the West Bank? Yeah, Hamas.
Really?
Yeah, no shit, terrorist
According to who?
supporter. I don't know, all the terrorists you support, you don't even give a shit about the actual Palestinian people. You want to put this whole
So
idea
I'm
of
just going to
hate
try and you're
here.
incorrect. So the
Oh,
West Bank
am
is
I
currently run
incorrect
by
or are you
Fatah.
incorrect? Because you want to
Well, I'm
support a
correct.
terrorist
That's the
organization
sorry.
without
No. So I'm
any
gonna
actual proof.
sorry,
All your proof you're
Meister.
getting
Sorry.
from
Can I know your name?
Hamas and
Okay.
all these people who.
If we're gonna have difficulty listening, we're gonna have to use the admin powers. Okay. You're free to unmute if you'd like. Do you know how to do that? You click the little, and then we do that. I'll send you an invite if you can't figure it out. Wonderful. Meister, are you there?
Yes, Nazi. I'm a terrorist supporter.
Okay, first of all, you're going to be kicked if you can't use TikTok-friendly language. Do you understand what TikTok-friendly language would sound like?
Hey, mate. I don't know if you realize, but TikTok does support Nazis.
Okay, well, we're not going to use that language because that threatens both your and my
What
account.
language?
Okay?
Terrorist.
That
Hey, why
language.
don't you go fuck yourself?
Once again, send a guest request if you disagree with me, and you can follow very, very simple rules. Hello.
Hi, Hamas sympathist.
Hi, Bird.
Hi, Hamas sympathist. Hi.
Bird, how old are you?
Hello, Hamas sympathist.
Bird. Are we sober currently?
Hamas sympathist, hello. I like to ask for people.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man? Merry
Not
Christmas.
too much. Do you disagree?
Well, I was just curious. So let's say the IDF paid Jewish people to go over to Gaza and kill innocent Palestinians. Do you believe that's wrong?
Yes.
Would that make them terroristic? Like
Yes.
that in itself? So, do you believe that the PA is supporting this terrorism?
Supporting what?
Is supporting terrorism, like Hamas?
The PA is?
Yes.
No.
So, what about the Palestinian Authority paying 300 million USD? It's about 1.1 billion shekels every year for a pay to slay policy for Palestinians to kill Jews?
It doesn't. The PA is a UN construct, right? Are you referencing the Martyr Fund?
What was that?
Are you referencing the Martyr Fund, which
Yes.
hasn't been enacted in the West Bank since 2006?
What was that? You're cutting out. Sorry.
Are you referencing the Martyr Fund, which hasn't been enacted in the PA since 2006?
You
In
said,
the
was that in the
West
West
Bank, which
Bank?
is
Not in
controlled
the
by the
West
PA
Bank.
since 2006. Is that what you're referencing?
No.
Okay, what are you referencing then specifically?
Well, I'm just curious. Would that? Do you think?
Well,
Do you think that makes?
if that was true, that would be despicable. Fortunately for the PA, which is Israeli controlled, it is not true.
So the PA is all Israeli controlled?
It is Israeli controlled in almost any conceivable sense of the word.
They
Yes.
don't have. They don't have a what's it called?
Autonomy.
Yes.
It is one of the least autonomous political organizations with its status in the world. Yes. The PA is not autonomous by comparison to Israel. How in the world would they be autonomous when they have they barely have any political control. They have very limited political control in part A of the West Bank. That's their only real sovereign territory. And even between that, it's separated so massively that they rely on Israel allowing access between them.
Yep.
No, the PA is not autonomous by almost any conceivable definition of the word.
So do you think it's wrong for them to use the money that they receive on funding from other countries towards Hamas?
Once again, I'd love to see the PA fiscally supporting Hamas, which they do not do.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
So then where does Hamas receive their funding from?
Yeah, I mean, this is really, really well known. If you ask Daddy Netanyahu, right, the money comes from foreign countries such as Qatar and Iran.
Just so you know, I don't think that Israel's in the right either. Netanyahu's a corrupt.
Wonderful. Then I don't know what we're disagreeing on. Are you
Well,
just attempting to demonize
I didn't say we're
Palestinians?
disagreeing. I just had a question.
Okay,
To
so
see
what are we discussing?
what we were discussing earlier about the pay for slave.
Hello? Okay. Keep on sending likes. Thank you for the gifts and thank you for sharing. It gets all of those things get this live out to more people, which is the goal. Hello.
Hello. I don't support the IDF, but I am Jewish and I've been struggling with like my Jewish family sending me Israeli propaganda for the last few months. I don't know if that's relevant to what you guys are doing here. I like just found this live.
Oh, good. Do you have a question or a point of contention or anything specific?
Just like what would you do in this situation of like dealing with people who have, like, I'm talking about my older relatives who have the trauma of Holocaust survival or being descendants of the Holocaust, and they just don't have, like, or at least it seems to me they don't have the critical ability to question the Israeli government. And how would you deal with that situation?
Yeah, so I think the really like this is kind of interpersonal, right? Is how you choose to deal with it. But first and foremost, your beliefs are your own responsibility. So their beliefs are their own responsibility. So I would start with you and making sure you are quite sure of what you believe and quite backed up in what you believe, right? And then if you want to affect how they what they believe and how they think, right, you can have those discussions person to person. I've literally never found text discussions to be productive. That's my personal view. But making sure you're educated and you know what to do, right? And then secondarily having those interpersonal discussions yourself once you're ready. But you have no obligation to teach them. You have no obligation to change them. It's a good thing to do, but I like, at least from my view, like if they're having wrong beliefs or having bad beliefs, that's their responsibility, and they can, you know, talk to their God about it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like I'm from a very liberal hippie family, so there's no religious ideology behind it. It's they understand that it's a genocide, they understand that it's wrong, but then they're afraid of the term from the river to the sea because they're like, so then no Israel, that's a threat to my people. And then what I do is I counteract that with being like, well, the United States is funded on white supremacy, saying, the United States is funded on white supremacy. The genocide of Native Americans has been atrocious, and
Oop,
that's
you're
what's
cutting in and
happening
out
here,
there.
just in another place. But what do you see as like the solution? Like, do you think
Might be
that
on my side, it might be
Israel
on your
should
side,
be
I
a
don't really
state?
know. Okay.
Hello?
There we are. You cut out basically for that entire thing. I didn't really hear you, so sorry.
That's okay.
My Wi-Fi is garbage.
That's
But
okay. But yeah, I was
yeah.
basically saying that like I can my family is like liberal hippies. They understand that this is a genocide, that settler colonialism is leading to the destruction of the environment. But when they hear the term from the river to the sea, they're scared because that threatens the state of Israel, which in their mind is a safe haven for Jews. So I don't see it that way. I think that anti-Semitism is a threat, but it doesn't excuse like what's happening, obviously. But do you think that Israel like has a right to be a state, or like should, like, what do you think is the solution?
Yeah, so first of all, I choose my battles. From the river to the sea, like as a phrase, like cool, but it's so actively propagandized, I just like give it, I'd be like, okay, fine, like this isn't the thing I'm gonna fight about. So what I'm personally for is a two-state solution in the interim and a one-state solution in a long term. And that one-state solution looks like a multi-ethnic democracy for everyone. So when I hear from the river to the sea, what I hear is we have a one-state multi-ethnic democracy, right? Which is what every human being deserves. And that means that the Palestinians under it would be free, as free as anyone else, just as free as any other majority or minority within any other liberal democracy. So that's my view. I don't think a history of oppression justifies you oppressing other people, which is necessarily what an ethno state creates.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's possible right now with like, because the way that I
No,
see
that's why I
what's happening
support a
right now
two-state
is like,
solution in the interim.
mm,
In the interim, I'm fine with the two-state solution, right?
yeah,
But then a one-state solution in the long term.
mm-hmm.
The thing that Israel wants is a one-state solution, right?
Yeah,
That's what we're seeing right now. Is they're pushing for a one-state solution, and that state is Israel. I'd love to see something like a Bosnia and Herzegovina, an Israel and Palestine. Even though Bosnia and Herzegovina has its issues very fairly. So yeah,
do you
absolutely.
think that like I see what Israel is doing right now as this attempt of globalization. And that's like what I've been talking to my family about, is like, it's not that Israel was created for Jews to have a safe haven. It's that it was created so that there could be this attempt for westernizing the entire world, so that the entire world becomes this like one Western global economy. I cut out for a little bit. But what I mean by globalization is like, based the United States is demonic superpower. We have the most money, so fund this military of the IDF, IOF, and like, I don't know. Do you think that the states like Israel or the United States could potentially fall, or is this the way that like the world is going?
So I think the U.S. empire is falling. We see the proliferation of things like BRICS, the second pole movement, right? The alignment of India, China, Russia, right, as world superpowers in opposition, getting rid of the petrodollar in Saudi Arabia, um, breaking up the oil giants. Those are really big threats to the monopolar world we've had for the past 60, 70 years, right, following World War II. So yeah, I do see a monopolar world going away, and I see that this is kind of maybe a start. It's a continuation of a proxy war between like the West and the East in some ways, the West and that, and the second pole. So yeah, I mean, the American empire might continue up until the destruction of Palestine, but in the long term, America is going to fall as the single pole of the world. And America's weak because of 70 years of policing the world, not for any other reason, everyone. But yeah, hey, well, I appreciate coming up. I'm gonna try and find someone who disagrees generally. So, but I appreciate coming up and sharing. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I appreciate the conversation. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you so much. I'm just gonna reiterate: if anyone disagrees, tell me in the chat, and I will let you up. There's so many, shit posters. If you support the, let me just be very clear. If you support the IDF, send a guest request.
Hello.
Hi, what's up?
Not much. Yeah, I support Israel because it's a state that has different people living in it. They have a democracy, only democracy in the Middle East. They have Arabs in the Knesset. They have people in the businesses that own it. 20% of the population is Arab. And they have Bedouin in the IDF. They're Muslim in the south. They joined the IDF, the Druze community in the north of Israel. They don't have a problem with Israel. They joined the IDF. H group said that they're going to destroy Israel. So you could never have really a peace. They had offered, you met Omer and Barak, his name, you met Barak, offered a state. And they rejected it and went to violence. And they have a
And
lot of
Yasser
money.
Arafat offered a state as well, and
Yeah,
and the
he did.
Israelis
But then he
rejected
rejected
it.
the offer. He rejected the
No,
offer.
no, 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 no. Yasser Arafat made 7 offers to the Israelis, all of which were merely requesting the following of international law. Israel is the one that denied their offer.
They denied some of the offer, and then he said no, they had no
Yes. So
agreement. And
why do
what
you
happened?
demonize Palestinians for denying offers that are still in violation of international law, but you don't demonize Israel, right, who are denying offers that is literally just in line with what the International Court of Justice says was the, law-abiding solution.
He came to the White House, and according to Clinton, he rejected the last offer they made. And then
The
Omer went
last
ahead
offer,
and gave
because
a
that
little
offer was
more.
still in violation of international law.
No,
Yasser Arafat's
which one?
position
Give me
was
specific.
merely Yasser Arafat and the current PLO position is merely the introduction and alignment
Give me
with
the
international
specific.
law.
Give me the specific that he rejected. That Israel
Specifically, so
rejected.
you
Give me it
can look at
specifically,
what
please.
Pablo, you can look at what the PLO's current position is. Okay, that position was offered right during the Camp David Accords, which is what you're referencing. That precise position was offered under the Camp David Accords, and the Israelis rejected it on the account that they denied the Nakba refugees being reintroduced. They wanted to completely demilitarize Palestine, and they wanted more territory than they were ever entitled to. Okay? Those 3 things are in violation of international law, and Israel has absolutely no right to claim them. Okay? So Israel is the one that is actively enforcing and institutionalizing crimes against humanity. Palestine has been the state that has offered a solution that has been in agreement with international law. I don't know how you can describe Israel as the peacekeepers and Palestine as the agitators when Israel is the institutionally criminal one.
Because they control the area. They won it through 3 wars that they didn't want that
Yeah, and the
they didn't want
Taliban
state.
controls Afghanistan. That doesn't mean that they deserve it.
that they don't deserve it, but they're not giving
Then
you any
Israel,
freedom
then your
in
argument from war
Israel.
doesn't work.
Explain to me how Israel doesn't allow anybody have expression there inside. There's Arabs that live in there. Explain that to me.
Wait, but the
Explain to
fact that
one more
they
thing.
sorry, can you just recognize the fact that they won it in war is inadmissible in courts of justice, which they agreed to when they
Every
signed the
country,
UN charters?
every country in this world have border problems, territory problems. Even Venezuela and Guyana have a problem right now. When they had they left Gaza, you see the people wanted
So
real. Let me make this point. They want a real peace. They really want a real peace. Hamas said. H group said. No. They took Fatah and they unalive Fatah members. They took control of that area and there was no more elections. And they said, no, we're going to destroy you, Israel. Yes, you have a lot of border problems. You have a lot of territory problems
okay.
around the world. That doesn't give these people the right to unalive people. And if you have that
So does it
problem,
give Israel the right to unalive people?
nobody has that right. But you have the right to defend
So
yourself.
when Israel bombs hospitals and refugee camps and denies the access of Red Cross into the Gaza Strip, why are you not condemning them?
Listen to what I'm going to tell you. This is their right. They captured H fighter, and they were interviewing. You know what he said? We
Israel
hide
has sorry. Okay.
during this October 7th. Let me make this real quick. During this October the 7th, they had that after these alive when they went over and alive people and they took them inside Gaza. They actually captured H members and they were interviewing us in YouTube. And he said, no, we use ambulance to hide. That's against international law to use hospital and go into tunnels. And they attack. They
And
keep attacking. They keep attacking.
Israel openly admitted that they violated international law when they
When
denied Red Cross members
they, they
access
put a
to Gaza.
pause. They put a
When
pause. Yeah,
they
they put a pause
sorry,
because
for the first sorry, for the first 7 days they actively denied Red Cross members access to the Gaza Strip. That is very clearly and self-admittedly in violation of international law.
when that happened, 7 days at the beginning on
Within the
October the
first 7
8th,
days following October 7th.
the first 7 days. Okay. And they probably
So
stopped that
if you
because
one second, if international law is out the window,
no, there's
which
no
I
out
don't
the
think it
window
is.
international law. You're not
Okay,
supposed to hide
then
behind
why
ambulance.
do you condemn Israel for violating international law?
Any unjust, I condemn. But you got to realize
So
that in a war,
you condemn Israel for violating international law.
when they're defending themselves in a war, international laws at times is not really proper when you take your civilians out. You
So why
imagine
wait,
that
so it's so international law doesn't apply to
when
Israel
when do they
when
break
wait, sorry,
international law when they're defending themselves?
So Israel gets to pick and choose,
No, there's
but
no pick and choose.
Palestine doesn't?
When somebody go to your territory and take hostages,
Like
you don't
Israel
see
has
the
done to
problem.
Palestine.
And they took them to Gaza.
Israel has thousands of hostages from Palestine.
There's no hostages. They keep attacking. In 1991, they had
No. Israel
suicide
just
bombers.
sorry. Israel just calls those women and children that they took prisoners, but they're not prisoners until they're charged with a crime at least, which up to 60% of them have not been. So they are not prisoners. They are hostages. Israel takes hostages. So do you condemn Israel for them
They
taking
take
hostages?
hostages when they're being attacked. The video.
Absolutely.
No, there are videos.
Israel
No,
takes hostages.
no. There are videos of those people that released that are traded attacking IDF soldiers, and they use suicide bombers to attack people. What do
Well,
you think you got to do?
then charge them with a
There were
crime.
some charges. Some of them were in what they call military. It's not the greatest. I must admit, it's not the greatest
Israel
thing.
no,
But
no,
you
it's
keep
just it's not just
defending
not the
people that don't
greatest.
believe in democracy.
It is a crime against Okay, wait. You're condemning the children
Not the
who don't
children that
believe
went after
the
the IDF
children
soldier
that
with
were
knives.
illegally wait, sorry, the children that were illegally taken by Israel. You're saying they deserved it because they don't believe in democracy?
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
Okay,
is
so what are
the
you saying
age
about the
group,
children who were
the
taken?
children attack with the knife, and they attack with suicide
Okay,
bombers.
then
You don't
charge.
see a
So how
problem
does
with that, bro?
how
You don't see the problem?
Pablo? Do you want to have a discussion?
Go ahead.
Do you want to have a discussion?
Yes, go ahead.
Can how can we have a discussion if you're yelling at me?
Sorry, I have a loud voice. It's my ethnicity.
Well, you're screaming.
I have a loud voice. Go ahead.
Well, I hear your voice now. That's fine.
Okay, I have a real loud voice.
Well, you have a loud voice now, and it's not an issue. It's not your loud voice I have an issue with.
It's very, very loud, believe me.
Okay. So I'm confused. What does a non-terrorist state do when a child commits a crime? Do they put them through military courts?
No, it's not the greatest thing. I'm not saying that I agree
It's not
100%.
just not the greatest thing,
But
it's
the
a crime against humanity.
the PLO, Fatah, in the West Bank gives money for the family that you go ahead and commit suicide bombers. And the video show that these people attack. Yeah, it's a military. They have a military tribunals in the U.S. too. It's not the greatest thing, but you have a process. And the age group in Gaza does not give anybody the right to protest. Homosexuals are not allowed, not permitted. These people are very intolerant. So I'm just trying to see your point that, yeah, you're in the middle of a war. Yeah, it's not the greatest thing. Israel is not
And
a
you
saint.
think because they are intolerant, we should take their
No, no, no,
children?
no, 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 no. Let me say you again.
Okay, so
The
so
people,
Pablo, I'm not interested. Sorry, Pablo. I may have a strong neck. I am a gay man, but that whiplash of a pivot, even I'm not prepared for. So let's stop pivoting, right? Let's try and have one discussion, okay? Because I promise you, you're saying nothing new. I swear on my life that I have heard every single one of your talking points. So let's try and address all of these talking points one by one. So let's talk about the children that Israel has taken. Do you condemn Israel for putting children through military courts?
not necessarily, but they're attacked. No, but you go with a
Okay,
knife.
so explain to me how you believe children can be held justly for up to 3 years. They can grow up in these courts without ever being charged with a crime, which up to
But some of them did.
60% of current hostages in this, sorry, up to 60% of them in this situation have not been charged with a crime. Do you condemn Israel for illegally holding children for up to 3 years without ever charging them with a crime?
When? How many? Because a lot of them already had a sentence. One of the girls that released, one of the ladies.
So the statistics I'm referencing are the ones released right by the UN on an independent investigation. So we
Why
can
would I
get the
see that?
nominal numbers up. I'm referencing the percentage. That's 60% that have been held without even being charged with a crime. That doesn't mean so that's not even including the people that haven't gone
But
through a
some of them.
trial, not even including the people that have been through the juntas that are entirely, propped up in kangaroo courts. That is not even condemning the courts for having a 98 to 99%
That's the
non-acquittal
U.S.
rate. That is
That's the same
just
thing in the
the
U.S.
people that it's not the same for the US. It's roughly 83%
Military.
on federal courts. You're incorrect.
No,
So
military court.
I'm asking you how you justify that up to 60% of the hostages Israel has taken not even being charged with a crime yet. How are those not hostages?
Depends when were the attack. Some of them were in the process of getting going to court. Some of the people that released, like the
You
two
don't have
ladies
to go to
released.
court to get charged with a crime.
Well, sometimes it takes time. In the U.S., it could take time too. I'm not saying that is the
To
greatest thing,
charge you with a
but
crime, to charge you with a crime, to charge you
sometimes it
with a
does take
crime, it
time.
takes time.
It depends
Very,
when.
very little time.
It
Very
depends
little
when.
time. That's not
D-
true.
Depends
It
when.
doesn't really
Depends on your
depend
attack.
when.
You had how many
This has
people they
been going
released?
on for the past 6 years.
How many? How long did they release? How many people they released Israel recently when they did a swap when the Hamas
What they
executed
released?
50 people?
What they released? 150, most of whom were women and
150 people.
children.
And the ladies, one of them had a year left to go on her sentence. The other one had about two
Once
more to go.
again, even a
No, not
portion
proper.
of those people released had not been charged with a crime. So I'm asking you, Pablo, how can you hold someone for 3 years without ever charging them
I
with
don't
a
know about
crime?
3 years.
How is that not a despicable act?
You know that girl. Let me tell you, that's not really true.
No, no,
Habibi,
no. I
the
want
girl.
Pablo.
No, that's not true.
Pablo, that's a charged person. Pablo, that's a charged person. That's not what I'm asking about. I'm asking you how you justify holding
That's not
women and children.
justifiable. That's not justifiable. If
Okay,
that's true,
then
if
you
that's
condemn
true, that's not
when
justifiable.
something's not when something. So Israel has done that for thousands of women and children. Do you
Thousands,
condemn
thousands.
thousands,
And that's the system that they
thousands?
have in Israel, but in the West Bank and in Gaza, when they take people that are against them, they
And I can
unalive them
condemn
and
that.
they
Do you
hang them.
condemn this, Pablo?
I will not support any government that does not allow people to have a protest right. civil rights laws in Gaza
So
and the
you
West
condemn
Bank
the ID. So you condemn Israel,
because they
which
attacked.
unneedingly and brutally killed Palestinians during the peaceful march in Gaza.
When? When?
We can get the direct date up, right? It was.
When that
I
happened?
believe it was in 2000. I believe it was in 2009 when they peacefully marched up to the wall, which was rightfully in their territory.
Well, no, in 2005, Fatah was unalive and they were hung by Hamas, by H group.
Once again, Pablo. I may have a strong neck, but pivoting that hard will help no one.
No, of course not, because
Do
you
you
have
know what a pivot looks like in a conversation?
a pivot. You just don't want to. What I'm just telling you again. I'm going back to this history. You want to go back to the history. The points that I make about Israel, like the beginning of the conversation, I say Israel's not an apartheid. They have civil rights inside of Israel. They have people that live there in peace. That they have their
So
own
once again, Pablo,
language.
did I ever say the word apartheid? Once again,
Yeah, you have
Pablo,
said it
so
in
Pablo,
your
you're having a
views,
discussion with
not in this
me.
conversation, but you have said it
Are
before.
are you aware? Okay, so are you aware that you're having a discussion with me?
Can you
Yes.
hear? Can you hear? Say that again. I lost internet. Say that again.
Are you aware that you're having a discussion with me?
You're breaking
Okay,
out.
I don't know where he's going.
I'm here. Can you?
We are breaking up, but I believe that's on your side, brother. My point is, Pablo, try and have a throughway with me. Try and have a line of discussion. Do we understand how we can do that?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, then let's do that.
Yes. What I was telling you is that in this conflict that goes very long, you have a group of people that do not want to accept the Jewish state that is not really an apartheid state. And you still have areas that these people do not want to have peace with them. H group just say that they're going to continue attacking. There was a lot of suicide bombers sent into Israel from West Bank, and they give money to those people that do that. So you can never have a peace because it takes two people. Yes, Israel is in a war. These people are alive right now. This is nasty. Civilians and Palestinians are dying. I've talked to a lot of Arabs friends, members of my extended family, that they are not allowed to have a different opinion inside into the Arab areas, just like anywhere in the Middle East. Civil rights protests, you're not permitted. So yes, you're going to have a situation when Israel has to go in there and maybe arrest people. There's a military that doesn't make it right. That's not the greatest things. But you have a situation with every situation, each group just say that they're going to continue doing this. You can never have peace with them. They left in 2005, and each group that do not support any civil rights went after the Fatah and hung them, and there was the end. Anybody that disagree with them is gone. So you could never have any solution. This is going to happen again and again and again, like it's happened for the 75 years.
Can't really hear you, Pablo.
Can you hear me? You heard me?
There we are. Okay, I'll try and respond to what I did here, Pablo, because you said quite a lot there. Really quickly, you keep on lying and saying the Palestinians have
About
never
what?
accepted a Jewish state. Well, I'm about to say. You keep on saying that the Palestinians have never accepted a Jewish state. Yasser
When?
Arafat accepted a Jewish state.
What condition
Israel
was it?
denied his offer.
That when? What did he
It
accept
was
it? Tell me
in
the details.
line. So, Pablo, I already have. Would you like me to reiterate the details I said?
That he accepted what? Give me, yeah, say it again, detail. What did he accept it? That Yasser
He
Arafat
accepted.
said no.
He accepted. He accepted the direct guidance of the ICJ. Do you know what the ICJ is?
No, what is the ICJ? Explain it to me.
Okay, this is the ICJ is an incredibly important body when we are talking about foreign policy and human rights, as it is the International Court of Justice. the International Court of Justice had a ruling on Palestine and Israel calling for a direct return to the pre-1967 war borders.
Yeah, they rejected that.
Yasser Arafat accepted that ruling. Yasser Arafat accepted that ruling along with the vast majority of the international community up until the Abraham Accords, which
Yes,
Trump
true.
coordinated. So up until the
Yes.
Abraham Accords, even the vast majority of the Western world accepted the ICJ's position.
Yeah.
Israel was one of the only states in the world to deny the ICJ's proposal. The ICJ's proposal included a Jewish state. And the Palestinian Authority, along with the ruling body in the Palestinian Authority, the PLO, otherwise known as Fatah, accepted that ruling as well. So it is fundamentally wrong to say that Palestinian authorities have never accepted a Jewish state. That is just not true.
Well, I agree with what you
Okay, do
say.
we
Yes,
understand that now?
that's true. That's true. That's what you're saying. That was back to 1967 pre-borders. Yeah, Israel rejected that because they're defensible. The reason they accepted that is because they want to destroy Israel. That would have been too small. Yeah, at that point, Israel rejected that. But let's say every country in the world has a border problem. You have to accept some of the things. Yeah, they accepted that.
So,
You're right.
Pablo,
I
that means
agree.
what you
I
said
agree
was
with you.
wrong, correct?
The what?
Pablo, that means what you... Okay.
Yes,
That
yes,
means what you
yes.
said was wrong.
Earlier, yes, yes. That's true.
Okay.
The
Let's
1967
start
war.
from the
That's
truth. So
listen.
let's start from the truth and then work on the narrative.
So what
Okay?
happened
So
was even
Palestine has accepted, right?
one,
A Jewish
one,
state existing.
one time.
Nope, it is still Fatah's position,
Yeah,
actually.
but yes, yes, that's the only time that they probably accepted it. I think if Israel said, "Well,
Nope,
we're gonna give
they
you,"
still accept it.
yeah,
Even until
it's
now. So from the Camp David Accords, which were in the 1990s, if memory serves, to now 2024, PLO, which is still the rightful, right, PLO, Fatah, right, who are still the rightful rulers of Palestine, accept that position. Israel is the one that refuses to accept it as law, even though it is in international law.
well, they
Okay,
probably reject
so
if
no,
that's
not
true.
once. Don't minimize.
No.
And
Listen,
if you don't know, don't speak.
listen. I know. I'm not gonna tell you I know everything. You probably know a lot,
But
but
don't
I'm
say
my
things
point.
that are not true, or don't say
But
things that
listen.
suggest you
They
know more
probably
than you do.
accepted even Barack Obama when he came to power in the United States. He said, go back to the 1967 borders. And at that time, Benjamin said that's not going to happen. So that position, no. But you have to agree to something. A lot of the times that Israel gave offer, the UN at the beginning of this war offered something to them. They say no, even before they gave them more, a lot more, and they rejected. They went to war 3 times, and there's consequences. Just like every empire, every country in the world have lost territory. They say no, and then the other they went to war.
Do you
But
believe the
you're never
Taliban
gonna
are the
have peace.
rightful rulers of Afghanistan?
The what?
Do you believe the Taliban are the rightful rulers of Afghanistan?
You could never say that you have that because the international community believes in democracy, that people could vote. No, they don't. They don't. Do they encourage that? Because in Afghanistan, like many people in many places in the Middle East, there's no democracy, no vote, except
Okay.
Turkey,
Do the
probably.
okay. When we're talking about there's a difference between a government and a state. Do we understand the distinction between a government and a state?
Well, it's a state, it's a territory.
Well, okay, so the state, right, is the political apparatus that is in control of a certain territory. A
Yes.
government, right, is the given political party in control of the state. Okay?
Yes.
So, yes, Israelis get to vote on their government, right? But
Wow.
when we're talking about what state is in control of a given piece of land, no one gets to vote on that, right? Yet, in
Right.
this area. The Palestinians or Israelis don't get to vote, hey, we want this territory, hey, we want this territory, right?
Well, you do through votes
So when you
because they
talk
could
about
maintain.
democratic rule, there is no democratic rule in this area between the states. I would agree if we had a referendum of all of Israel Palestine and people voted on these current lines, then we could talk. But that's not what's happened. So Israel and Palestine have no democratic legitimacy, right? With the exception of an appeal to international law. right? So when we don't have democratic legitimacy, maybe we can get international law legitimacy. And there we see that Israel is lacking and Palestine is successful. So if you want to say that the Palestinians should have just submitted to a agreement that institutionalized and legitimized war crimes, which is what you're suggesting, when you say they should just accept a offer that Israel takes them, they should just accept that the stronger people do get more land, they should just accept that might is right. You're saying that we should institutionalize war crimes. You are just saying that Israel should actually even further lose legitimacy. I don't understand how you can say that. If you do not
No,
believe that the Taliban has the rightful control of Afghanistan, which you and I can agree to, then you cannot argue that winning a thing in war means that you have the right to it. It just doesn't.
no, no. But the beginning of this conflict in the 30s and the 40s, they gave a partition plan, and the Palestinian, the Arabs rejected it 3 times. Even when Israel was a lot smaller, they went to war and they lost territory. Many other
Then
people.
wait, so Israel, even if we accept that the partition plan gives Israel a right to a state, which I don't, but even if we do argue from that, okay, the partition plan could only conceivably give them the right to that which they were partitioned. How in the world are you saying, well, the fact that the Arabs denied this partition plan actually gives Israel the right to just take what they want?
But it's the same thing that any war. You take a territory that doesn't give them necessarily the right, but all that time that they were given the more
Exactly. So
land,
Israel
they
doesn't
kept
have a right
saying
to that
no.
territory.
They give them because they went to war. I'm not saying that they have the
You
right
can
to.
reiterate that they get to war. I'm just going to continue calling you a terrorist. That is what terrorists do.
But
The
if
Taliban took, sorry, no, that is what terrorists do. The Taliban took land by might. Okay. Iran, Iraq, like everyone that has ever been labeled a terrorist by the Western powers have been people that have been attempting to illegally take land by might. You
not
cannot
necessarily,
distinguish. We
not
called
necessarily.
Russia terror. We called Russia state-backed terrorists. We called Sudan state-backed terrorists. We called Ethiopia state-backed terrorists. Eritrea state-backed terrorists. Somalia state-backed terrorists. That is
But
what they do.
that's a difference because you delivered
The
go
difference
after.
is that you support them.
No, I'm gonna explain it to you.
The
Let me explain my
difference
point.
is that they agree
Let me
with what
explain it.
you
The
think.
difference. The difference is when you take a territory, you don't go after people. H group go after house by house on a live people. That's the difference when you
You
take a
don't think
territory.
Israel? So, oh wait, sorry. I would think taking hostages who are civilians
No
would be going
difference.
after people.
Difference. Big difference. Big
What's the
difference.
difference? Explain to me the difference.
I will
Explain to me the
explain to you.
difference.
When
Okay,
you
sorry.
go,
Sorry, 1 second. I'll give you the comparison. Explain to me the difference that looks good at all for your argument by taking a child, not charging them with a crime, and
when give me the
illegally
specific.
detaining.
Give me the
Sorry, one
specific
second.
when that happened.
So the UN has widely reported that this has happened over 500 times. Okay?
The UN.
So,
Oh, okay. The UN, the people that put Iran to be in charge of the Human Rights Commission.
so who would you believe?
The UN, they have a lot of
Who
hoes,
who
but they're not
who would
not,
you
not
believe?
perfect.
Who would you believe? Because Amnesty International also announced this. So did Human Rights Watch. So did Reuters. So
Really,
did Al Jazeera.
I got to see that first, and I got to read it, and I will come back if that's true. That they necessarily every person they took as hostages delivered. Like
Pablo,
I
so
want
it's
to see
difficult.
you.
So here, it's
That's big
difficult to talk to
difference.
someone who doesn't have any clue what they're talking about.
Big difference. And let me go
No,
back to the.
Pablo. See, the difficulty we're running, Pablo. The difficulty we're running into is that you have not done any reading or background information on this at all.
I've
So
done so.
I'm not
I'm
going
not
to
gonna
do your
lie.
research for you. I'm
Oh
not
no,
going to do your research for you,
you
right?
got to bring
But
proof.
if you want to dispute, if you want to dispute my claims,
I
right?
will. I
Provide
will
me
come back.
counter evidence.
I will come back.
I'm citing my sources. I'm
No,
citing my sources,
UN
Pablo.
doesn't have credibility.
Amnesty International has reported. Sorry, Amnesty International has reported this. Human Rights Watch has reported this. The UN has reported this. Reuters has
UN
reported this.
doesn't. eh,
Independent New York Times reporters have reported this.
New York
All
Times very
five of those
biased.
sources. So
Man, most of
I'd love any counter evidence.
the UN doesn't have a lot of credibility. They have Iran as a human rights over that. The other one that you opposed doesn't count. They're leftists. The other two people, I will have to look into that. How much you and yeah, they probably condemn Israel and some of the things. But you got to remember that you send people to unalive people. That's a big difference. That Israel does not say, well, we're gonna before October the 5th, October the 3rd. There was nothing happened. October the 7th happened, and that's when Israel responded and they hide behind the hospitals. You see the difference?
Nothing was happening on October 7th? On October
October
6th?
4th. What
On
happened on
October
4th?
5th?
The 3rd, the
Nothing was
4th, the 5th.
happening?
What happened? What happened on the 3rd?
They were still illegally detaining women and children.
So that gives you the right to go over and go after people.
No, Pablo, that's the confusing thing. I'm not apologizing for terrorists. You are.
No, because a lot of the
I
people
don't.
that Israel took
Have you ever
in,
asked me if I support Hamas? I don't. You support the IDF. Only one of us in this discussion support terrorists.
I support when you have a legitimate democratic government. The Taliban is not.
What
Iraq
makes
is
a
not.
state legitimate? What makes a state legitimate?
That you have civil rights and you people vote for it. The state, yeah, the state's the line. But the Taliban took power and that was it. The
Who
same
gets
thing
to?
that H
Sorry,
group did.
Pablo. Who gets to draw the borders?
The border is already there. Whoever controls the border. But I'm saying when you have a government
So you're
that
so
violate
look,
rights,
Pablo. Pablo, this is the whole question. I think an illegal occupation is unacceptable. Okay? And
but
I
they were in
believe
Gaza.
if a state is occupying territory and controlling territory outside of their rightful territory, right, then certain defensive techniques by the people and state and rightful state in that area can be taken. If Mexico put a town across the American border into the US, right, the US would have retaliatory rights. And if Israel illegally settles people in occupied areas, okay, then Palestine has retaliatory rights. I do not believe that looks like violating civilians. I do not believe that looks like violating human rights, but Palestinians have the right to defend themselves. Okay, so I'm asking you, Pablo, do you believe the strongest person in the room has the right to draw the borders?
Do they have the right? I believe so. Yeah, they have the right. If
You believe might is right.
sometimes depends. Like United States was formed, the whole country, Canada, United States, South America, Mexico, Australia. Uh, they took over 100 years ago the British Empire, and they walked away from India. They had it for a while. Sometimes they do control, and the history is there. Like my land belongs to the Seminole Indian. I live in Florida, and I live in their land now. Where is their right? Well, they don't come around my house and try to unalive
The
me.
Seminoles
They
have territories that are sovereign. Do you not know Native American laws?
really, and they come to my house and unalive me. They never threaten me. I know how my neighbor is. He's
Wait,
almost
so sorry, you don't know that Native Americans have sovereign territory?
some will do some areas, but they have a
The
lot of
Samoas,
territory to other Indians.
The Samoa tribe do have sovereign territory.
They have a sovereign limited, very limited, and they don't go threaten people. Big difference. And they don't go around and say
Pablo,
this is my land.
so if someone Pablo, so your bar is just threatening people. So if someone moved into your house, right, you wouldn't have any ability to kick them out?
If they move to my house, yes, that's
Okay,
different.
so what if someone stole your land?
Stole it. When did they
Yeah,
steal the land?
what if someone took it? Like lived on it,
Somebody
for
stole it.
example.
Yes, of course. When did the
Okay,
Jews
so
took it?
what is different about that than a state going in and taking land?
When did they take the land? When they left Gaza in 2005?
When did they take the land? Well, they
Gaza.
took
When did they
land.
took
They took
Gaza?
land, and well, you agree. So that they took land in the
Gaza.
1960s. Sorry, they took land in the 1948 war. They took land in the 1967 war, and they maintained taking land with the settler states.
And when they took Gaza? What happened in Gaza?
I love how you do this. They are still occupying Gaza.
Before that, 2005, what happened?
In 2012, the occupation continued.
2005, what happened in 2005? Do you know?
In 2005, the Jewish people, the Jewish settlements, were taken out of Gaza. Do you know why the Jewish settlements were taken out of Gaza?
Because the Democratic elected Ariel Sharon said it is out because we want to put all the Jews concentrated in Israel. That's an excuse. They didn't have no purpose of staying there. So they left.
Yes.
They
So
left.
they
And what
wanted.
happened?
So this is really, really interesting because I'm it's actually strange that you said that, because you realize that that's racist, right?
What is racist? That people have an ethno state?
Well, the idea that we should force or require settlement of a certain peoples in certain areas precisely to maintain those peoples' control of that area in exclusion of other people. That
No, that's not
is
an inclusion. That's not an inclusion.
genocidal.
Now wait, no. Because there's Bedouins live there. Nobody's kicking them out. Explain that to me. South of
No
Israel.
one's
The
kicking the
Bedouins.
Bedouins out.
No, they joined the IDF. You notice that?
Well, they were forced to join the IDF, and I'd
No, 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 no,
strongly
no, no, no.
disagree that. Sorry, Pablo.
No, that's
I'd
not true.
strongly disagree. I think both me and the once again the ICJ, our good friend, would disagree. The Bedouins have
Oh,
faced extraordinary xenophobic and racist pressures by the Israeli state. They've been famously treated differently than Jewish Israelis. You're just
like the
wrong.
Druze, right? Like the Druze, similar to the Druze, the Arabs that live in the north, also, right?
The
And
Druze
forced to
are a
join.
different peoples than the Bedouins,
Oh, they speak Arabic. They're not Jewish.
and have been treated differently than the Bedouins.
How?
And also yes,
When?
the
Give me specific.
also yes, the Druze have been treated poorly, right? That's why Israel also was taken to court, right, under the ICC.
How?
Or not
Well,
under
the
the ICC. They're
Druze
not
joined the
signatories of the
IDF.
ICC. Under the ICJ, under the ICJ, because of their
Really?
poor treatment. And let's talk about your third talking point, the Samaritans. The Israeli Samaritans
Wow.
also took Israel's current government to
And
Israel's
then
Supreme
fight them.
Court, calling
Just
for
like any
unequal treatment.
just
So
any
yes,
country in the outer world, they don't accept anybody. That does not mean that they took them to
but
court because they didn't
Pablo,
want
it
them, but
means
they
what you're
joined the
saying is a
IDF.
lie.
That's because the IDF, the Jews love the IDF. They have representation in the Knesset. I remember Supreme Court
But
Justice. I
Pablo, it
remember.
means what
Explain
you're
how that
saying
happened.
is a lie.
Oh, is it the apartheid state that allowed Arabs to own businesses?
So Pablo, I'm just going to reiterate that you can pivot, but
Pivot.
what you said was a lie.
Where? Which one?
When you said that the Samaritan, or when you said that the Druze or the Bedouins or other minorities within Israel are treated equally, there is a plethora of case
What is
law.
it they do to them? What? Like, what did they do to them that is
Well,
unequal?
so the Samaritans specifically, they denied their right of return,
Oh, wait. That's a lie. There's hardly any Samaritan left. They only got like 1,000 people left. That's a
and
lie. They don't
and
have no
they.
Samaritans living outside of Israel, buddy. No, no, no.
So this was actually so Pablo.
How
This is
many
actually quite a.
Samaritans?
There were roughly 900. You're correct in that. But when we talk, well, that just makes them more of a minority problem. And
Yes.
but Pablo, don't speak on that which you don't know.
Well, don't change that
The
subject. You say
Samaritans,
Samaritan return to
the Samaritans were denied their right of return.
return.
And they,
Where are they? If they have to return, they live in Israel.
do you know the history of the Samaritan people,
Yes.
Pablo?
Yes, they had a lot of them in Libya at one point. They were spread to the Middle East. In
So why
1400,
were they spread to the Middle East?
they were spread throughout the Middle East. They were the Samaritans. They were the ones that went to Babylon and they came back. They spoke Aramaic. 1400 years ago, some empire came in and they started all
The
aliving. And
Babylonian Empire came in, kicked
oh,
out the Samaritans, right? And then they
and where are they
returned.
now?
And
Where are they?
some of them are in Israel, right? But some Samaritans still, there was a diaspora of Samaritans,
Really?
and
Where?
some of them still are in what was classically Babylon,
They
right?
are there?
Which would be Mesopotamia, etc.
They're not there.
And those people, sorry about Prabla, those people have the right to return.
No. Wait.
Okay.
You have to admit. I know you realize Samaritans in Iraq. I know a lot of the minorities that live there, like the Yazidi, the other people, the Kurds, there's the Arabs, Aramaic, Assyrians. There are no Samaritans. They are having issues right now because the Samaritans cannot come back to Israel because there are none. They're only in a small area in Israel, like 1,000 left, under 1,000. They're having issues. They're trying to get more people in. They were marrying other people because they were excluded and they only married themselves and they were causing a lot of problems. So they died off. Their Samaritans cannot come back because there are none outside of Israel. And I know that fact, and I think you should admit to that. If you want to do research and come back to me, I could go back to you. So I have to do some research, and I think you have to do some research.
So Pablo, before you run away, I've
No,
done my research.
on the
I've done my
Samaritans?
research. Sorry,
Really?
I've done my research. And the Samaritans did actually litigate on this. There's no question, right? There are Samaritans that exist outside of Israel. That's just a fact.
No.
Iraq reports a small Samaritan minority.
How
Iran
many?
reports a small Samaritan minority. It doesn't matter to the point being made. It is incredibly small, Pablo. I know you know two things on this issue. Samaritans small, Samaritans struggling. Fine. I'm proud of you for knowing those two things. I just happen to know a little bit more, which is that the Samaritans specifically sued the Israeli government because they had a racist and xenophobic policy of denying Samaritans the right of return under the law of return, which was one of the first Israeli laws passed. Okay? And eventually, the Samaritans, after a very long legal battle, won their right of return under this. So the original treatment of the Samaritans was fundamentally heterodox to the whole justification of Israel. So yes, the Samaritans absolutely face oppression, and that's well documented in Israeli Supreme Court case law. I'm sorry you don't know that, right? But you're very confident in not knowing that, and there's no reason for you to be as confident as you are in not knowing it. You are just wrong. This is a really famous Supreme Court case, right? That I literally studied when hear me out, study law. So, no. And then the Bedouins sued in the ICJ. The Bedouins sued the Israeli government in the ICJ. You are just wrong as well. The Bedouins have famously faced oppression under the Jewish Israeli state. That's just true. And the Druze people do not have the right of return that the Jewish people in Israel do. Okay? The Druze people do not have that right. So when one peoples have the immediate, unquestionable right to return to an area merely because of their ethnicity, and another peoples do not have that right, that is a hierarchical society that I would refer to
Wrong.
as an ethnostate.
There's nothing wrong with that because the law of return, yes, is a sign of state. So they allow only Jewish, like any other countries. There's nothing wrong with that. You have Japanese, you have Koreans. They don't allow anybody back that live there. Yes, maybe the Samaritans.
Japan
I
is
don't
one of
know
the
about
most racist states in the world. You're not helping yourself.
the what. It's not a
Japan
racist
is
state.
wait, so you didn't hear me. Japan is one of the most racist
Oh
states in
yes,
the
yes.
world. You're
So
not
what?
helping yourself.
So what? So what? Every
So what
country,
to
the Polish.
racism?
That's something that you have people. Well, you have people that have a ethnostate. There's nothing wrong with that. The Polish
Germany only gives the right of return to ethnically German people,
and Jews. They
Spanish
allow Jews to
people,
come back.
and Jews. Oh, and Spanish. The Spanish
Where?
government only gives the right of return to ethnically Spanish
Yes,
people
yes. There's nothing wrong with that.
and Jews, and Portugal only gives the right of return to ethnically Portuguese people.
Yes,
Who else?
every country, a lot of
And
countries. Something
and
wrong with
and who?
that. And no country in the Middle East, Muslim
Who
countries, allow
else?
anybody to return
Who else does Portugal give the right of return to?
to maybe descendants of the Portuguese, Brazilians, maybe
Sephardic Jews.
Sephardic
So
Jews.
does
Oh, thank
Spain.
you. Yes, isn't that great? Every country has the rules.
You
There's
are
nothing wrong with
wrong.
that.
But
Nothing wrong with that.
what you're saying is wrong.
No, nothing wrong with that.
The idea that they only give to one ethnicity is incorrect.
So Israel gives it back to the Jewish descendants of the Jewish people have the right to
But
return.
so the thing is,
Nothing wrong with that. To sign a state, they say it. There's nothing wrong with that. And the people that live in there have civil rights.
do
Yes, they
you
took them
believe
to court.
do you believe indigenous people have the right to live in their land?
Yes, yes. Why not?
Is there something wrong with denying indigenous people the right to live in their land?
Yeah, maybe in certain rules there might be things that once it's
Do
settled for so
you
long in the
believe
United
that is
States.
morally wrong?
There's nothing wrong. It's morally wrong when you're unaliving people. You could live there and not
Pablo,
be.
do we have an ability to have one discussion? Is it morally wrong to deny indigenous people the right to live on their land?
Not really. No.
No?
Maybe not.
Okay. Is it morally wrong to deny Jewish people the right to live in Palestine?
That's different. They control it because before they were not
So
allowed.
okay. So is it okay? So it's literally just me have big gun.
Um,
Is that your view of so do you
that's the
believe
history. That's always been in world history.
do you believe that the Trail of Tears was justified?
The what?
The Trail of Tears.
What is that?
Okay. Do you believe that the Lost Generation in Australia was justified?
Oh, the Aborigines.
Mm-hmm.
The way they conducted themselves, the British Empire was very brutal. I don't agree necessarily the way they
And you don't
used.
think the Zionist colonial project was brutal?
It was really. It might be. It would
Okay,
have
so
been
was it
better.
wrong when they did it?
When they did it, and the way it was done, it was totally different because they already have Jews living there for many years. There
And
was
they've already had Palestinians living there for many years.
yes,
So
yes,
the
they were living there.
question, okay, and they kicked Palestinians out of their homes and out of their land. And they have since established an ethno state that does not allow Palestinians the same rights of return and the same rights
There's
to live
nothing wrong
there,
with that. It's a
right?
Jewish state. They return a lot of the land
Pablo,
back.
you're just racist. You believe that a racist state is an acceptable state.
Just like anywhere in the Middle East.
Pablo, if you believe that a racist state, if you believe that a racist state is an acceptable state, you are racist.
When you have people inside of Israel that are Arabs that have representation in the Knesset, in the Supreme Court, they go to school, they have businesses. South Africa, that was a horrible way to treat people. Inside of Israel, there's a Knesset member. He's an Arab. There's a Supreme Court justice. He's an Arab. They have businesses there. There's an Arab. Yes, there's a lot of people. They have another problem with the West Bank.
Black
They
people
push
had
it back.
businesses in apartheid South Africa.
No.
Irish
Big
people had
difference.
businesses in Northern Ireland.
Big
Like
difference.
I don't know where you're
Big
going with
difference.
this.
When Mandela came to power in the parliament, when they were
He was
swearing
called
in,
when Mandela came to power, he was called a terrorist.
let me tell you something. When the Mandela got elected, when they made the peace plan and Mandela accepted it, he got voted in. And when he was doing this, during the inauguration, they say, "Oh, no black people could have come into the parliament here. It was impossible." In Israel, the Arabs
You're
are in the parliament.
referencing Nelson Mandela, who believes that Israel is an apartheid state.
He believes that, and a lot of people believes apartheid state, but it's not the same as Africa. It's very different. They have people with
I don't think anything is the same as anything. No one said it was the
right.
same. People said it was an apartheid state.
No,
And
it's
you're
not
just
an
saying that
apartheid.
you're fine with that.
No. How do they go to the school? Supreme.
Do you think it's okay
No,
to give preferential treatment to a given ethnicity?
I believe that inside of a country you should have civil rights.
Do you believe it is against civil rights to have inequality of civil rights?
No, it's not right. But they have rights. They go into the government.
Okay, so the fact that some people have some rights means that it's fine. Black people had
Depends what
some
you call.
rights.
What you make
Sorry,
it a broad.
black
It's
people
very
had
broad.
some rights in apartheid South Africa.
No,
You're just
no,
fine with them having
no,
less
no,
rights.
no. Big difference. In apartheid, they were not allowed to be in parliament. They could not run for the
Okay. Is
government.
it your job to pick and choose the rights that you think people deserve?
Uh, you have to have basic human rights that many of the Muslim countries don't have to the
Do
other
you think the
minorities.
right to live in your native land is a basic human right?
Well, yeah, I think that's a right that you should
And
have. That's
Arabs
a
are
right that
being
Israel
denied that.
denies.
And
Yes,
Israel
Israel
does deny
denies it.
that. Israel denies the Palestinians the right to live in their native land.
But they live there. 20% is Arab.
Mm-mm.
They're in
So they
parliament.
do not. The Nakba refugees,
No, they will not come back.
750,000. The Nakba refugees, 750,000 Palestinians who were kicked out of their lands illegally, are being denied the right to live in their native lands. Do you believe
That's
that that
right.
is a human rights?
Let me
Do you
explain
believe
something.
that that is a? Do you believe that that is a human rights violation?
That could be called a violation, not a civil
Would
right.
you call
But
it a
let me ask you
violation?
something. What happened in 1940? What happened in 1948 to the Jews that living in Iraq and Libya and in Syria? What happened to the 850,000 that were expelled? Do they have the right to come back to Libya
Absolutely, they
and
have the
all
right
those
to
in
come
Middle
back. And the fact that
and they were not given a right?
in the case that those countries are denying their rights, I condemn them. This is how
Good for
moral
you.
standing works. I condemn them. Do you condemn Israel for denying the Palestinians the human rights.
I guess yes. I guess that's something that is not a
Wonderful. Then I
right.
suggest that you stop apologizing for the Zionist state
I'm
and
not
you will stop
apologizing.
being fundamentally racist. Thank you so much, Pablo. Bye bye.
Oh, man.
Let's see. What time is it? Just stop. On 1 second. Well. Sucks to suck, everyone. Um. Okay. Thank you so much, all my loves. Okay, I'm probably gonna do like maybe one or two more. Um. One second. Ah, that's my nipple. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, okay, so we do have 700 people on here, so what I'm going to say is do follow my YouTube. I upload my lives to my YouTube. So if you want to go follow them, then if you want to go follow my YouTube, that's the best. Um, great. Okay. What country am I from? I live in the UK, but I'm from the US.
Hello?
Let's see. I don't think Amir will join. That's the joke. That's the joke. Oh, there we are. Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah. Third time
Doing
is
really
a
well.
charm. Let's see if you will kick me again. Let's hope. Maybe.
Well, I forget why I kicked you prior. But let's see if it
Um,
because if my memory is jogged.
uh, no, we used to have arguments about you call the Nakba humanitarian law, and I pointed out that transfer of population was codified as a violation of human rights in 1949, and you still presented it as a violation. But
Yeah,
semantics.
so
Who cares?
I mean, rights of return work posthumously. That's why Germany has a right of return. That's why Spain have a right of return. That's why Portugal has a
Hmm.
right of return. That's why England has a right of return for the Irish. Um,
Hmm.
so,
Yeah.
so you were wrong
Again,
on that.
no, I still thought, well, all right, so right of
Well, you
return
still
to a
believe it, but
sovereignty.
it's still wrong.
Yeah, so if you want to have a special case for refugees only for Palestinian, yeah, I'm willing
It's
to
not a
give the
special
right of return.
case. I
It's a
believe in a
special
universal
case.
right of return.
Hmm. All right, so you don't believe in borders?
Well, not really, but that's a different discussion.
Oh, all right,
I'm
so
talking
it's
within the
understood.
current
Yeah.
nation state framework. The right of return is necessary to it.
Hmm. So you said the right of return, but you don't believe in borders, and you want the right of return as the Palestinian ask for
I said
dual
in the case,
citizenship.
sorry, just to be very clear, I said in the case that we do have borders, the right of return is necessary, right?
All
And
right.
that's obviously the case currently that we have the right of return.
All right, so why specifically to the case Palestinian ask for dual citizenship with their right of return?
Why do they ask for dual citizenship? Is that the request of the Nakba refugees?
Yes, yes, because they are saying I want to return to either to the West Bank and be a Palestinian citizen, or if I was evacuated from Haifa, I want to be a citizen of Palestine and of Israel. That's what
I
they're
would say
asking
they
for.
have the right of return to where they were kicked out of, whatever that current nation is.
But if their nation
So,
is in the West Bank, so can they return to Haifa and be Israeli citizens as well?
so only to the place that they were kicked out and wherever that currently is. So
So they
I think that's
either.
pretty clear, right? So we can make this a little simpler. Um, so if the geographical nation state lines have changed, right, then
Mhm.
wherever they were kicked out is where they are now. So you have the right to
So,
return to the area that you have been returned to. Obviously, if you're from like a town and that town physically has been split, right? I think there's a
hmm
good argument for dual citizenship, right? And that's true of like some West Bank towns, right? They've literally been split between the two.
hmm
And if you're in like area B, where the political and military control is split as well, I think there's a good argument for dual citizenship, right? But if you're in area A, for example, right,
hmm
maybe not. Maybe you don't get Israeli citizenship. That's fine. But if
okay.
you're in area B or C, right, or in Israel proper, then yeah, I think you should get Israeli citizenship. I think that's pretty clear. And by and large, you can move from Israel, like especially if you're a Palestinian ethnically,
hmm
you can move from Israeli
so,
proper, area C, right? If you want, you just have to renounce Israeli citizenship in some cases. Um, so
did you know that this
this really
option
isn't
is
the point of
currently
contention.
open?
There's like once again, international law has
Yeah.
figured this out really, really well, because wars happen all the time, and a lot of people follow international law. So
Well, 60 million refugees in World War II figure it out, but the Palestinian is a special group that can inherit their right. You know that if a Palestinian go
well,
to the
they
state,
can inherit their
adopt.
right. Actually, the refugees from World War II did inherit their international rights of return, and that's how a lot of them got international rights of return. And that's why, once again, Jews have the right of
Mm-hmm.
return into Germany, right, and into
So
France in some cases, and into Poland. So
no,
yeah,
Jews got the
refugees
right
from
of
World War
return.
II
Jews got
absolutely
the right.
maintain the right of return.
You are again missing the fun data. Jews got a right of return to France because they got citizenship from France when the French ruled Algeria. And Jews got the right of return from Portugal because they were citizens of Portugal.
I
They
didn't
were
say
so
Portugal in this
Palestinians.
example. I'm aware. I so once again, I didn't say Portugal and Spain in this example because I
You
know the
France, for
history of Portugal
example.
and Spain. I
No,
referenced France.
France.
No. France.
No.
France also gives Jews who were kicked out during the German occupation the right of return. You're incorrect. It's not just Algeria. You're correct that they also get the right of return from the occupation in Algeria, but they also get from the German occupation. Germany
Yeah, but
also has
Germans
occupation
cannot go back to
has rights of
Poland.
return, and so does Poland. Poland also has the rights of return for when it was occupied by Germany. Austria also has the rights of return for Jews when it was occupied or when it properly merged with Germany. Czechoslovakia, or well, Czechia and Slovakia have the rights of
hmm
return for when they were a puppet state for Germany. So yeah,
Yeah,
all of
but
them
Jews
have the rights
don't
of
want
return
to
for
have a
those that were kicked out. You're
sovereignty.
just wrong.
No, again, you are missing the point. The Jews were citizens of those states, then they don't have a claim for sovereignty to build a Jewish city with a different sovereignty. So you cannot compare the right of return of citizens to the right of return of Palestinians that were
The
maybe
Palestinians were
Jordanian
rightful,
or
sorry, the
maybe
Palestinians were
Egyptians.
rightful citizens in their area. The
They
Palestinians
were
were rightful
citizens of
citizens
British
within the
mandate.
Palestinian British mandate. They were rightful citizens
No,
within
but
the
the British
Palestinian
mandate
British
is
mandate.
cancelled. The mandate is cancelled, and then they became Jordanian citizens in the West Bank or Egyptians, and then Egyptian
They
canceled the
were kicked out
citizenship.
prior to the proper occupation by Jordan.
No, they were kicked
Do you
out
not
due
know when
to
the
their
Nakba happened,
behavior.
brother?
The Nakba is not a real thing. You can say it all you want. It doesn't make it real. The
Once
word
again, if we're just
was
going to
the
deny reality,
phrase.
there's no point in us discussing.
No, no,
But
wait,
the
wait, wait,
Nakba
wait,
happened
wait, wait,
prior to
wait,
the
wait.
occupation. Sorry, the Nakba happened
Nakba is a Syrian word.
prior to the occupation of Jordan, by
Yeah,
Jordan in the
but
West Bank. That's just not true.
the Nakba is a Syrian word created by Konstantin Zurich, who is
Once
a
again,
Syrian
you as a
writer.
snowflake can lose your little mind about the words that we use, right? But
Mm,
it doesn't really matter,
Thank
right?
you.
Whatever
Thank you for
your
proving
argument
my
say,
point
it
by
doesn't
going.
really matter what
Thank you
you're
by
arguing
proving
here.
my
The
point,
point is,
going down to personal attack.
let's talk about the
Thank you for
historical
proving my
fact.
point. All right.
Let's talk.
So we
Okay,
move.
Amir. Once
So
again,
we
you can
move to
pontificate
personal
all you want.
attack. Thank you.
What? It's not a personal attack.
I said thank you
It's
for
not a
moving to
personal attack. You
personal
are
attack
being a
and
snowflake.
proving my point.
But
All
the
right.
point
Thank you
is,
for proving
the
my point again.
Nakba, Amir.
Again, the Zurich, Constance in Zurich coined this term Nakba as the loss
No,
of the
Amir, I
seven
don't
Arab
care. Amir,
armies.
I don't care.
All right.
Amir,
Okay.
so
All right. We
I've
don't
said
care
that
about
multiple
facts. I
times.
understand.
It doesn't matter.
Listen,
So Amir,
if you want to do,
the semantics doesn't matter.
okay. So the reality does
Do you think?
matter, and the
Sorry, Amir. Do
reality
you
is
think that's fair? Do you think the semantics don't really matter? Do you think the lives and
semantic
rights of
matter.
Palestinians
That's
matter?
why
Do you think the lives and rights of Palestinians matter just a little bit more than your semantic nonsense?
I think that because of the life matter, I'm pushing for a solution. The solution cannot be the destruction of the Israeli state. That is not on the table. The Palestinians have the reason to demand a safe
I'm asking about
living
the
and peace
rights
for
of the
their
Nakba
kids.
refugees. Let's talk about the rights of the Nakba
It's not going
refugees.
to happen. It's like the Mexican will
So
now take US.
the fact that you don't think it's in the future that Israel recognizes human rights doesn't mean that those human rights don't exist.
We recognize human rights in the safety of security of citizens. Palestinians that agree to live under Israeli rules and be citizens are today Israeli citizens. Palestinians that want to
Untrue.
fight,
Untrue. The
yes,
Nakba
they are.
refugees are seeking Israeli citizenship, which comes along
All
with
right. So
agreement of Israeli
first
laws.
of all, Arabs in East Jerusalem can claim Israel citizenship if they want, and there is a process
Yet
between
again, I
500
reiterate.
to
That
2,000.
we are not
Take it
talking about
every
the
year.
current Palestinians. Yet again, I reiterate, we are not talking about the current Palestinians that are currently occupying Palestinian land. We are talking about the Nakba refugees, right, that were kicked out during the 1948 war, okay,
Okay.
and
I
have the
will.
right of return.
They don't have the right of return because I will tell you even more. Let's say Ukraine loses Crimea. Do you think Ukraine can claim Crimea 80 years from now?
Wait, they literally do.
They can.
This is literally the whole argument, right?
No,
Is
they
yes.
can't.
No, they literally yes. The
All right.
fact that the Taliban has control of Afghanistan currently doesn't mean that a democratic rule in that area can't be established, right? The
Listen,
fact that
I
that the
appreciate the
land has
double
been wait,
standard.
that's literally the argument. Russia, right, has argued the whole this is great. Crimea as an example, right? This is the whole
Hmm.
discussion. Russia and Ukraine sued each other in the ICJ on this matter. Russia claimed
Yeah,
that it consistently was a contingent part of the USSR, and they claimed the legacy of that.
they cannot sue Russia because Russia
Ukraine
is
claimed
not a
that
subsidiary of
Crimea.
the ICJ. Yeah, it's
Well,
fine.
no, you
They
don't have to
can.
be a signatory of the ICJ to be sued in the
You
ICJ.
have. That is how
No,
the
you don't. You
ICJ
just have to
works.
be a member. You just have to be a signatory of the UN Charter to be sued in the
You
ICJ.
need to
You have to be a
signify
signature. You
and
have
you
to be
need
a.
to
You
validate.
don't have to be a signatory of the ICJ to be sued in it. You only have to be a
There.
signatory of the ICC. It's
All
just not
right.
true.
So I don't see anyone arresting Putin. You know, there is arrest warrant against him, right?
So
I don't see anyone
once
arresting
again,
him.
Amir, there's a distinction between enforceability and existence of law.
All right. So I will tell you this: if I work with a body that cannot improve himself, like the UN, because there is no election and there is a bloc of
There
57
is an
Muslim
election in the
countries,
UN, you dipshit.
there is no. All right. So thank you
There
for
is.
proving my point
There
again.
is an
Thank you
election
for
within the
proving my
UN. You are
point.
just
Thank
wrong.
you for proving my point by going down to personal
Once
attacks.
again, Amir,
I'm
every
saying
time you're
if
just
you
being dumb, like you're
pit
just saying things that
Syria
are not true.
in the human rights.
The UN has an election.
No, the UN have 57 Muslim countries that can pass any law. For example, putting Iran or
That's
Syria
just
at
not
the head
true.
of the human right.
What Muslim country is on the
Who is
Security
now
Council?
leading the human right? Syria.
Okay,
Do you think Syria?
name a Muslim country on the Security Council.
There is none because they should not get real power because they are not real
Okay,
countries.
does the Security Council have the right to veto any binding resolution of the UN?
The UN do whatever US says, right? If US say this is the law, this is the law. The
Yeah,
UN is a
the
fake
UN
body.
is not controlled by Muslim countries. That's just not true. Actually,
It is
Western
under
non-Muslim
resolution,
countries
under resolutions.
fundamentally undermine the ability of the UN to do anything, even with a majority. So no,
All
this
right.
is absurd. To describe the UN, right, as a proxy for Muslim countries is nonsense.
It is under resolution. If we have 124 resolutions against Israel and 8 against Iran, this
And how
is
many of
not
the
a
wait, sorry,
functional body.
how many of those are binding?
None, because they
Zero.
just like to do it.
Zero of them are
Yeah, no,
binding.
because
Zero.
international
No,
law is
none of them are binding.
Israeli
I don't care
international law
about
by
non-binding
definition is a
resolutions, brother.
non-binding.
Zero of them are binding.
Yeah, we
None.
don't care as well.
How much money?
Israel.
Okay. How many peacekeepers have been sent in, right, to help Palestinians?
How many peacekeepers sent into a Palestinian?
How many
I
UN
don't know.
peacekeepers have been sent in to support
I don't know.
Palestinian struggles for independence?
Help me. I don't know.
You don't know?
How many sent? Oh no, I don't know. How many?
Zero.
Hmm.
None. Now, how many
How many?
UN peacekeepers have been sent in to help the IDF?
In Lebanon, I know there are some.
Correct. Wow, look at that. So there are some
Mm-hmm.
in Lebanon, and you know what happened
Mm-hmm.
to some of them?
What?
Israel killed them.
Okay.
So to
And
suggest, genuine, to look with a straight
by
face,
intent,
right, and tell me,
Israel had
with
an
intent,
intent to
because
kill them?
with
Okay.
intent or recklessness, as the
Okay.
International Court found. So Israel has been
Mm-hmm.
helped by the UN because the
Okay.
UN sent in military peacekeeping forces to help it fight in Lebanon.
So the UN
Palestine
helped
has
Israel
not.
fight?
Palestine has not. They've been sent zero peacekeeping forces. So to describe the UN as anti-Israel is insane. That is objectively insane. Okay?
Okay.
No
So
binding resolutions have been passed in the UN against Israel, and hundreds of thousands of military support aid have been sent to Israel from the UN. Right?
so you
And
will
then
not define
Israel
UNRWA
killed
as
them.
UN? All right. So
Israel
you say they
killed
killed them by
them.
reckless or intent, but you pick, I guess, intent. All right. So UNRWA is not a part of
No,
the
sorry,
UN?
Amir. I said recklessness or intent.
All right. So it
It
seems
just
like
doesn't
you pick
matter. If
intent.
you kill someone
Okay.
recklessly or intentionally, it's still illegal.
Usually in law, intent matter, but we can debate on it later. But so you say
No,
UNRWA is not a
let's talk
part of the
about that,
UN?
Amir. Intent
Okay.
does matter, just not to whether it
Mm-hmm.
is actually illegal. If it is reckless manslaughter. If it is intentional,
Mm-hmm.
it is murder, right?
Okay. So Israeli
Both
can
of those are
definitely
illegal, Amir. Both of those
so
are illegal, Amir.
Israel can go and have an investigation and find it out, I guess, right?
And they've had an investigation against them,
Okay.
brother.
Okay.
The
And what was the
UN
result?
engaged in an official investigation looking into the Lebanese peacekeepers
Mm-hmm.
that were killed, right? And they found that it was due to Israeli violation of international law. So
Okay. So I guess that Israel need to clarify this issue with the UN. And do you
it's
think
very
Israel is
clear.
intent to kill more UN
You don't
peacekeepers?
need
Is
intent
that
to
like
kill. You just need to be
no?
reckless.
I'm asking. Do you think Israel want to like analyze more? Is this serve any great goal for Israel, like tactical or strategic goal?
I mean, you can move the conversation into that. My point, right,
Mhm.
was that
Wait a minute.
Israel.
I just want to know, this peace force help to stop Hezbollah firing hundreds of rockets and anti-tanks on like Israeli
Well,
towns
they
and
can't help when they're
villages?
dead.
Oh, so all of them are dead. So we kill all of them.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
Amir.
But so they cannot help blocking the rockets as well. Okay. So
Well,
do you
no,
think
Amir.
Israel notified
That's
those
not what I said,
peacekeepers to
Amir.
get
I don't
away from
appreciate
the
you
war zone?
lying. That's not what I said,
Okay.
Amir.
I asked. You didn't want to answer, but
You
I'm
didn't
I'm
ask. You said, "Oh,
understanding.
the other." You in a very petty, aggressive way or passive aggressive
Hmm.
way, said, "Well, actually, the other ones
Oh,
can't help."
am I talking
No, I
with
said
like
they
my
can't help when
girlfriend
they're
now?
dead.
Okay.
No,
All
you
right.
are being
So
passive aggressive. That's not a personal attack. You are being intentionally passive aggressive.
all right. So that's like a bad Tinder date, I guess. So can we get
It
back
is
to
a
the
bad
point?
thing to be
So
passive aggressive, yes,
I agree
and it's
with you.
childish.
All right, so I want to be direct. So I think that Israel need to win definitely to give the Palestinians the peace they deserve and to save for the next 40 years peace in the area. And I think every time any combat situation is not ending in a definitive win, you just rolling this problem down to the next generation. So whatever you need to get peace, you need to get peace. If peace means that you need to kill two, don't kill three. If you kill one, it's also not good. Peace worth more than being righteous right now. And I understand that this concept is hard for understanding in the West because we
It's
forgot
not
how to
difficult to
fight and get.
understand.
Yeah, but peace, look, World War II happened because World War One never really ended, right? So we want to end wars and we need to definitive win. So definitive win mean no more willing to fight. As long there is a willing to fight, the war is never ending. Now Israel has done for the last 20 years half wars and caused more devastation and pain to the Lebanese or to the Palestinian. So in order to finish it one and for all, you need to have a definitive win, either to Palestinian or to Israelis. That's better for everyone. I
And
hope it
how
will be
did you
Israel.
connect that to our discussion of the Nakba refugees?
So I'm saying because the Nakba never ended and the world want to keep this problem
Did the
alive,
Nakba never end, or did it never happen?
Nakba never ended because none of the Arab state helped them. 12
So
million
you're saying the
German left the
Nakba vote didn't
Sudets
happen.
and got
Sorry, you're saying the
citizenship in
Nakba
Germany.
vote. Amir, just a quick question, and I'd love a direct answer. You're
Mhm.
saying both the Nakba didn't happen and it never ended.
I said the Nakba never ended, and I don't.
But you also
and
said
I,
that it didn't happen.
No, the Nakba didn't happen. It was a war, and they got
But
cleared
you're
out of
saying
the
that it
war
also
zone.
never ended.
Listen, the war never ended, and the Nakba never happened. You want to
But you
more
said that
clear?
the Nakba never ended. So were you wrong when you said that the Nakba never
No.
ended?
I said the war never ended because
I
the
mean,
war
that's
started from
not what you
48.
said.
So I'm sorry that I confuse you. I will say it as clear as I can. The
I'm
war in
not
48,
confused. You are
the
wrong.
war in 48 never ended,
But wait,
and the
sorry. I'm
Nakba
just going
never
to reiterate
happened.
that I'm not confused. You are incorrect. Did you or did you? Is this words, Amir? Are these words that came out of your mouth? Did you say that the Nakba never ended?
I said the war never ended. That was my
Amir,
intention.
Amir,
If I, Mhm.
what words did you say?
All right. So if I said the Nakba never ended, I meant
No,
to
I want
say
to
the
know.
war
I
never
want to know
ended because we're
genuinely
talking about
the
a war.
words that you remember yourself saying. Did you
I will.
say the Nakba never ended?
No, I said the war never ended, and if you
You
want to
never
replay your live,
said
you
that.
can go ahead and do it. What?
Amir, sorry, I just want to get this directly on tape. You are saying right now that you never said that the Nakba never ended.
I don't recall it in the call. We talked about the war, and I told the war never ended, and I
Okay.
told the Nakba never happened. Now, if you want to play it back, I
Bye
will
bye,
appreciate.
Amir. Do y'all know what I dislike more than Zionists? Liars. I don't like liars. I hate liars. Literally hate liars. Like that insane takes. This is why I kicked him, because he's a liar. Okay, I'm gonna get off, because after all, it is Christmas, and I'm gonna take some time for myself. But this is absurd and insane. Okay, so I appreciate everyone coming on. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. I wish the Palestinians could celebrate, for those who do, but Israel's illegally occupying them and bombing the churches that do exist in Palestine and terrorizing those that don't even celebrate. It's despicable. It's painful. Thank you so much for everyone who's helping me do this work. Thank you so much for everyone who's supporting me doing this work. Thank you for so much to the people that are doing this work better and more than I am. Much love. Slay the day. And if you want, TikTok doesn't like me. They're not a fan to me. So go follow my YouTube. I post these on my YouTube at some point. I'm a little behind, but I post them. So love you all. Bye bye.